Thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. All right, good episode. Good episode, guys.
Good video.
We can
See you guys later.
See you.
All right.
Hey, Connor, can I talk to you for a second?
Yeah, what's up?
Excuse me, Connor. Buck's gotta go to bed.
All right, see you guys later.
Yeah, see ya. Check out those T-17s.
Yeah, here they're obsolete.
Yeah, man. So listen, I just wanted to talk to you about what happened the other day. Get in the fucking hole, Connor. Lights out. Connor, there's a new Spider-Man movie out, buddy. Come on, let's go see it. What do you say? You spent enough time in the basement? Come on, buddy. Oh, those Native American spirits got to you. Come on, I'll buy you a beer. It's got Tom Holland in it. Robert Downey Jr. You love those guys. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. 8 months isn't so bad. Don't be such a baby. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Out of the Basement. Today on the show, we are reviewing Spider-Man Homecoming, the latest MCU Spider-Man movie.
Disaster.
I'm Nate, and I'm joined with Justin.
What's up, guys?
Making his triumphant return is Connor Lindsay.
Oh,
We missed you.
it's good to be back.
And of course, the illustrious Stephen Buckrop.
You remember my birthday.
So yeah, we just saw Spider-Man Homecoming, and we have some words about the movie to say. Not kind words.
Some choice words.
But before we get into this is a full spoiler review. We're not holding back on anything. But I will say, if you have seen any other Spider-Man movie, you've now seen Spider-Man Homecoming. Because this movie just doesn't do anything new.
Yeah. So, obviously, right off the bat, we all thought it was bad.
Yeah.
You could tell Bucky is pining for better days.
Yes. And, this comes from, we all are pretty passionate about Spider-Man. We love the original trilogy, Raimi trilogy. And, I'm sure we enjoyed Amazing Spider-Man 1, not so much 2.
I didn't think there would come a time in my life where I would ever think that, it could get worse than Amazing Spider-Man 2. But that has happened. This movie is definitely worse than Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is a shock for me to say, because that movie is a steaming pile of dog shit.
Yeah, and dude, this movie has high reviews. It's critically acclaimed.
94%.
Yeah.
94%
And
on
a pretty
Rotten Tomatoes.
high audience score.
92.
Audience seems to love it too.
This is
Don't
further
really get
proof, though, of just bandwagon syndrome and groupthink, and it's ridiculous.
Yep.
Ugh.
Well, we were talking about it. I think that people are just too afraid to accept that they didn't like a superhero movie. They're just I love it all.
I think that people are. Okay, this is maybe how we were when we reviewed, the theatrical cut of BVS for the first time, and we wanted to love that movie.
Mm.
Or Suicide Squad.
And we were very hyped at the
yeah.
time.
Oh, yeah.
And if you go back and
No,
you can't.
You can't.
That's all gone.
You'll
but,
never know.
But we would sound perhaps very different now talking about those movies. And I feel like this is a global version of that.
Yeah.
Where you really want, okay, Spider-Man's finally in the MCU. we really want to like this movie. We want it to be successful.
Which is true. Like, Spider-Man being in the MCU is like one of the greatest gifts in like the MCU.
It should be.
It should be. It should be.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about the one that we could really all get behind and agree on, and that is the actual movie suit is a pretty cool design.
Yeah.
Your classic Spider-Man.
Yeah, I like that it's really bright colors versus the other movie interpretations.
Thing is, I agree, it's a cool suit design, but at the end of the day, I still think Amazing Spider-Man 2 has the best Spider-Man suit design.
Without a doubt.
And to me, with the suit, like, it's so CG most of the time, and the CG in this movie is shit.
Very bad.
So it just kind of looks like a Saturday morning
standard.
cartoon.
It's totally. They went back to the color palette that they've always used. Guardians 2 switched it up and used very vibrant colors, but this just went back to the shitty concrete mud Marvel syndrome.
And I'm alone on this, but I also liked the second suit that Tony tried to give him. It reminded me of.
It looked like kind of like Ben Riley. Yeah.
So it tickled my fancy a little bit. And
Serious talking.
You mean Karen?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's all I was gonna say about that.
Sorry.
I kind of liked how it showed like street level Spider-Man, like he's like helping the lady with directions or like saving the bike. It's like a kind of a realistic interpretation. Like you got the guy on his bike, but like where's the owner in New York City? Like,
yeah,
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I forgot to write that down.
Just to go back to the CG thing, it's really apparent, like right at the beginning of the movie when they're tying it in with the first Avengers, and Michael Keaton's like, "No, you can't use those tools on that, you stupid idiot!" And then he just randomly pulls out this thing that's just in the debris pile, and when he's like clipping those things out of that, it looked so fucking bad.
Michael Keaton at the beginning of the movie. It was like, I feel like I know that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, God, he's protecting his boys. He's got a business. And then
they're just like, let's be criminals?
Yeah, like the shift is very, very quick from like, I'm a blue collar guy trying to run my own business to like, fuck it, we've got alien technology.
Well, to be fair, the shift is quick just because they jump ahead 8 years. So you don't get to see their progression.
Which is weird in and of itself because like the math of that is just not.
I don't know how that works out. I don't know how the timeline works out.
And normally, just I guess we could start getting into the dislikes if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah, fine.
Here we go.
Normally, in every Spider-Man movie, we get a nice little origin for the villain, something that'll make you, relate to them in some way. But this time, it's just like Michael Keaton loses his job. Now he's a Vulture.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. He has a suit, everything. It's all
perfect.
They
didn't really show you how he created the suit either.
It's very rough.
It's just everybody in the MCU can just create a super suit.
And
now.
there's just the really I'm gonna say cringy, like 90s style, villain dialogue where he comes in. I think it's right after the 8 years later thing comes on the screen, and he's like, "Boys, business is good."
It's bad. Same thing with Shocker. I mean, why even put Shocker in the movie? He was just a waste. He didn't do anything. He literally did nothing.
He had one shock.
He only had one shot. He essentially wasn't the Shocker. He was just a guy with a little arm thing.
Also,
boomstick.
Minor nitpick, teasing Scorpion, but then making it so like
not so subtly.
So like obvious because they call him by his name. They call him Matt Gargan, and that's a good nod. I feel like most people could understand that that's Scorpion. But then they show you him, and he has just this big fucking scorpion tattoo on the side of his neck. Like, if you couldn't figure it out, he's Scorpion. And also, Michael Keaton having morals at the end of the movie. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. First off, all of the characters in this movie sucked. Every single one of them. I mean, Tom Holland as Peter Parker, as Spider-Man, to me, he did fine. It was whatever.
To me, none of this is his fault. Because I liked him in Civil War.
Yeah.
I think we could all agree we liked Spider-Man more in Civil War.
Agreed.
And there's nothing really wrong with his portrayal, like, I'd put him on the same level as, like, Andrew Garfield. Because, like,
I don't know, I did not connect with his Spider-Man at all.
But,
And
like, it's
maybe
not-
we were talking about this before. Maybe it's because we're too old.
I mean, in reality,
But-
he's 1 year younger than me. Like,
All right, the three of us.
Well, no,
but I didn't care.
That just kind of goes through the whole movie. Like, it's not for us. This movie
Yeah.
was clearly aimed at the preteen audience.
but at the same time, we like Ultimate Spider-Man when he is this
But
15-year-old.
let me counter that though. It reminds me more of like the Disney XD Spider-Man series with Drake Bell,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
that type of thing.
And even some of that I like too. I don't think it's all trash, but some of it's enjoyable.
Because,
But mostly,
I mean, Ultimate Spider-Man, the comic book, rides that line of, like, you know, trying to get a new generation into Spider-Man, but also, if you're an older fan, you could still appreciate what they were doing with the series. Whereas this is just kind of like, we're going to do whatever we sort of feel like, and you're just going to have to deal with it. And if you don't like that, then
that's true. I guess I'm just trying to say, like, it's not his fault.
Yeah, and we're not blaming... I mean, you never blame an actor for a bad movie, because chances are it starts at the writing. So, you know... most of the time, but like the best friend, you know, didn't really do anything for me. Every character in this movie is comedic relief. That's the only thing that any of the characters have in this movie is quippy joke, punchline,
we didn't
punchline,
write this,
punchline.
but Flash.
except what's her face, his love interest. She was just kind of bland.
Just generic love
Yeah,
interest.
she was
Yeah.
just-
Right.
Yeah, and we said that too. We could say that now about Liz, her character.
I
That's
knew it started with an L.
the love interest in this movie. And we're talking about this. Usually it's like, I thought she was going to be like the popular girl who would like never talk to that nerd Peter Parker. But then they just like talk to each other and they're like, come to my party.
Yeah.
It's like usually he would have to like work his way up to like, oh, I'm going to finally talk to her and like
What? That's never happened to you?
convince her to like convince her to like, you know, be friends or whatever, go on a date. But it's just like, they're just immediately like love interest. with
I
each
thought it
other.
was weird that Flash was on the academic team as well. Like, usually he's just like the sport jock.
Well, they kind of have said, I've seen some interviews about this where like this is the first movie where he doesn't really have a bully. It's kind of just like like more like a rivalry type of.
Like, I'm fine for reinterpretations. That's if it works, but I just don't like. It was just, I don't know.
Again, if it's that same thing. If everything is highlighted, nothing is. If everyone's comic relief, no one is.
Oh man, like it was just like, but like Flash was still. I hate to say cringy because it's such an overused like internet term, but like DJ Flash and all that, I was like, oh no.
The party.
Hold on. Penis Parker.
I mean,
That
you
is
do
all.
have to keep in mind that they're sophomores in high school. They're 15-year-old like kids.
Still.
And also,
Yeah, you're right.
the fucking rap air horn.
Yeah, so let's talk about the beginning of the movie, guys. The fucking vlog that went on for way too long.
Yeah.
I hated the fact that it was in the aspect ratio of like a vertical iPhone, and like it actually did that in the movie theater. So like huge black bars on both sides. That was just really
Like, and he's supposed to be this nerd genius. No portrait mode, Peter.
yeah.
What are you doing?
Peter would not use portrait mode, but it was just really annoying, and just the way that he was filming. I mean,
And
it was
why would he put a film by Peter Parker if he can't show anyone? Like, why would he even add that in there?
yeah.
It's just to have a little clever little what? Peter Parker? Oh, it's a home video.
But the scene could have worked, and they could have done something interesting with it. But it was like 5 minutes long. It just didn't know when to stop, and it was sort of just chronicling what we already saw from Spider-Man. Like, it was kind of neat.
I thought it was
the
cool.
Civil War stuff, but like at the same time, I was just like, okay, we already saw this. Let's fucking move past it.
Yeah, you're right. It went on for too long, but I thought it was neat. Like you said, I thought it was a little cool to have like the little intermission, and then you see Giant Man. But then it just goes on too long, and there's
I
too
forgot.
much Tony Stark.
One positive that I forgot to mention: Hannibal Buress.
Yeah.
Get that Marvel money, my guy.
Even though he had literally nothing to do in this movie, but it's okay. And along with all of this going on, the comedy just didn't fall at all. Maximum cringe humor. We complained about it in Guardians with like the poop and the dick jokes, and this just took that same idea and just ran with it.
Which I heard because I was working the bar on the Thursday night, and few customers came out, and I was asking them, like, oh, what you think? And they were like, I thought the friend was going to be super annoying and, like, comedic relief, but, like, he totally wasn't. So I was like, oh, at least, you know, it's not going to be exactly what I thought. And then it was exactly what I thought. And let me just ask you, the audience, something. Remember Spider-Man 1, 2, 3 was intentional, so don't even go hating on that. And think of Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. Think about how much comedy was actually in those movies. Was it every other word of dialogue? Was there a punchline every other word of dialogue? I get, like, if you want to have a lot of, like, subtle humor in the movie, like the original Spider-Man films did.
Wrong. Homecoming, 94%.
But,
Boom.
yeah. But why is it necessary to have a huge punchline joke every other scene? Every scene.
It also
but every other word of dialogue.
It also felt like every joke had a nice pause afterwards for some audience laughter. Like, oh, punchline.
Might as well just look at the camera.
And it was so awkward in the theater too, because there were some nice folks sitting right in front of us, and every like joke that happened, I feel like they kind of just felt like they had to laugh, so we heard like a heh.
The lady in front of us just kept going. Just like, did she think that some like Marvel or Disney executives were in the room? She was like, I have to laugh. I have to laugh.
Like, look, there's actually a red dot on her forehead, like ready to go.
Kevin Feige's watching.
So like, nobody was even laughing.
Yeah.
So I don't get it.
Yeah, and this movie also plot conveniences to the absolute maximum.
God.
We already touched on Vulture and everything just instantly coming to fruition. How do these kids just know how to hack into Stark Tech? And they just hack into the suit easily, take the one control module off.
They're ultra smart. They're in a decathlon.
Yeah, bro. Like, Tony Stark would just have that so easily accessible, but that's more of a nitpick. But, like, the big twist sort of towards the end of the movie is Peter is finally taking his love interest out to the homecoming dance. And he goes to pick her up. But just who answers the door, Justin?
Vulture.
Oh my
Michael
God.
Of course it is.
And I could totally see the people who enjoyed this movie, which if you enjoyed it, you know, I'm happy for you. But I could totally see those type of people. They're just like, oh, what a great twist. I didn't see that coming. And then, like, as he slowly, like, finds out who Peter Parker is.
Very easily.
Yes.
People complain about Andrew Garfield never having his mask on, being the most obvious Spider-Man of all time. But Tom Holland doesn't even fucking try.
Yeah.
Like, he just disappears and then comes back as Spider-Man and then says, like, and people notice, so then they state really obvious
He
things.
didn't notice his friend sitting in his room when he's trying to sneak around.
Yeah. And then
I crawled over him when he could have just went like...
at the end of the movie, you know, even Aunt May finds out that he's Spider-Man.
Well, you know,
like, what the fuck?
I could have liked
That's what she says.
that
Yes.
dynamic, though, of, like, your best friend knows you're Spider-Man. I could have liked that dynamic, but I didn't.
Well, it was like directly stolen from, you know, Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because that is...
But done in a shittier way.
Yeah, not nearly as interesting or anything.
So, Bucky, we kind of agreed that the first act, we kind of just thought maybe a slow start, maybe it'll get way better. But then, for me, it was like that, when he opens the door and it's Michael Keaton, I was just like, no fucking way did they just do that. Like, is this really going to be this stupid? And I see Nate... I started dying in the theater, just laughing. It was the most enjoyable experience throughout the whole movie to see his reaction. Because, like, I look over and he's like doing the dialogue with the character. He's like,
I mean, there were several times throughout the movie where Nate's head went onto my shoulder and I comforted him.
It's just so...
I would look over from time to time and he would just be like...
And, like, one plot convenience into another. So... Of course, Michael Keaton is the love interest father. You know, of course. You know, how couldn't it be? But then in the car ride, it's like, Liz is like, oh, you mean that one time you disappeared at our party? Oh, and then that other time you conveniently, like, disappeared.
And you're friends with Spider-Man. And
yeah,
you're Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, and you're friends with Spider-Man. Like, hey,
he's
Dad,
Spider-Man.
in case you didn't know, he's Spider-Man.
Yeah. So then...
And then the Western, like, glare from the rear. I was was like, oh no.
So stupid.
And there's like super weird edits too of like really loud noises. And like they're trying to be like super artistic with it. I'm just like, shut the fuck up, man.
I'm sorry, Connor, go ahead.
I just want to say, like, there was like no pacing to this movie.
Nope. It was just scene after scene.
Yeah.
In a line.
It was bad. Like, it was just, it didn't feel like I watched a movie. It felt like you said, just a bunch of random scenes that didn't really, when they did like coincide, it was just too convenient or too, I don't know. I'm very mad about this movie.
One minor thing I would say, I always love to see Donald Glover in a movie.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he was kind of underutilized. He was just like a criminal.
Yeah. Everyone made a big deal about Donald Glover being in this movie, and he's in it for 3 minutes.
Well, people were thinking he was going to be Miles Morales.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot about that because Miles Morales is based off of Barack Obama and Donald Glover, so it's a good nod to have in there. Like, he's in the movie.
Yeah.
He's in the Spider-Man movie.
But to get back to the plot conveniences, so we get a scene on the ship, the big scene in the trailer that everyone's seen, and what do you know? Same thing that happens in the trailer. Tony Stark comes and saves the day when Spider-Man is over his head.
Yeah.
This happens so much throughout the movie. And it's just...
Like,
even after he takes the tracking device out of his suit, Tony's just like, hey, dude.
So, the first time, Vulture picks up Spider-Man and drops him from, like, 1,000 feet, and he's, like, stuck in the parachute. And Spider-Man with superhuman strength can't just take the parachute and rip it open for some odd reason. No. A Tony Stark drone Iron Man suit conveniently swoops down and saves him. Like, would Spider-Man have just died right there?
Yep.
If it wasn't for Tony Stark?
Guess so.
Because, yeah, Iron Man is kind of in this movie. And I know we're going to sound hypocritical because I know we've said this before about, like, why are people mad that other
heroes
heroes are showing up because it's a shared universe and it happens a lot in the comics. But just done like this. And it's only Tony.
Yeah.
I mean,
Captain's in the movie, but not. It's like an instructional video, so it doesn't really count.
Should we talk about the Cap thing? Because I feel like that's where we have maybe a disagreement in the group.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I liked the Cap thing. I thought it was funny.
For me, that was my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah,
it was honestly.
But the post-credit scene, dude.
We're not talking about that specifically.
I was talking about like the gym.
Yeah, or the detention, or part of it though too. You realize it's like kind of this tragic irony or this tragic thing for Captain America, where like. He never quite... you think that he's escaped making the type of video, like...
Yeah.
Because you remember, like, in the first movie, he's just a show... that's what he does. And it's kind of like, oh, that sucks. Like, he still has to do that.
But, like...
I did like the detention when he flips the chair around and, like, sits it backwards. That was funny.
Especially with... when he's like... Your body's going through a lot of changes. I would know. Like, I don't know. I thought that was enough.
The guy's been frozen for 65
Take it from a guy who's been frozen for 65 years.
Kind of going back to that ship scene and just how, like, Peter was in way over his head. Like, he couldn't handle the situation he was in. He's a better superhero than Iron Man. He's actually has superpowers. Like, the fact that he always needed his help, it kind of goes hand in hand with what we said about his powers being very inconsistent from Civil War.
Yeah.
Where he kind of just straight up murks Captain America.
What he holds some really heavy object over his head in Civil War. I don't remember that
it's
part.
like I forgot what it's called, but it's like that thing where you go into an airplane. It's like that little
the hallway thing.
Yeah.
So he's holding that up in Civil War, but then he can't get an air conditioning unit off of him.
There's a scene where Vulture makes a building collapse on Spider-Man, and what is holding him down is an air conditioning unit, and he had to look in the puddle to see the mask.
Oh my God.
I'm Spider-Man.
That part was so stupid. Just such a cliche moment of just like a hero dynamic in a movie. Like, I have to look in this reflective.
So
and then if that wasn't clear enough for you, they put the audio. If you need this suit, you don't.
They put the audio clip from
like in case you forgot this happened 30 minutes ago. Here's a reminder.
Yeah, literally inserted an audio clip from a piece of dialogue that Tony said earlier about you're nothing without the suit.
And just overall, not a whole lot of Spider-Man in this movie.
Yeah.
A lot of scenes of Peter in high school with his friends or at the competition. and you just really didn't get a lot of Spider-Man. You didn't get a lot of those classic Spider-Man moments that you would hope would be in the movie.
There's no like 6 shots of him like swinging from like skyscraper to skyscraper like there was in like every other movie. Like he wasn't swinging, man.
Yeah.
And like, did you really want to see like what happens when there's nothing for him to swing from? Like duh, you know what I mean? There's the part where he's in the neighborhood and there's no.
Yeah, and he just
It's
shoots
It's kind of interesting because it's like never been addressed before.
I think though, here's the thing, and this is like where it doesn't work. It's even like with him being in Washington, D.C. It doesn't. It was D.C. correct?
Mhm. They were at the Washington.
Okay, just making sure. Like whenever you take Spider-Man out of any superhero, I guess when you take them out of like the city of their whatever, but their alter ego also happens to be there. It's like, well, duh, this person is this, this person is Spider-Man, this person, It was like, what a problem I had with, like, Batman v Superman, with, like, when Batman's in Metropolis, and you're like, what?
Yep.
So that's just a nitpicky thing that I have, but it irritated me.
And I mean, just the action in general, it was just, there was nothing there. The final fight in general, like, if you could even call that a fight scene,
No.
it was more like...
Yeah.
Spider-Man struggling for a while, and then...
The final fight scene was... So, Vulture's trying to steal something from Iron Man's plane. So, like, there's a little struggle. They're not really fighting. And the plane crashes, and then Vulture's wings explode. They didn't even punch each other at all. They didn't hit each other. Like, it was not a fight. It was just... the plane crashed, and Vulture's wings exploded. And he tied him up with web. He said, "I'm turning you in, buddy."
I mean, again, I hate, like, you look at any of the other movies, like, the fight scenes, there's something entertaining about them.
Yeah.
Think about Spider-Man 2 train scene.
Yeah.
All right. I don't even need to say anything else other than that. Like,
Yeah.
think about that fight scene. Think about the stakes. Think about the tension. The, like, actual suspense of that scene of being like, how is Peter possibly
Like,
going to stop this train?
Even in Spider-Man 1's a great example. Like, the stakes are incredibly high. Like, even the first time we see Green Goblin, he straight up kills, like, the board of directors.
Yeah.
Out, damn right.
Yeah.
And he's, like, a terrorist. Like, he's, like, terrorizing everyone. And there's actually, like, stakes at that point versus Vulture. Like, I know it's in his character, but he's, the scavenger thief. And, I mean, even later in that movie, he has, like, Mary Jane in one hand and a bus full of kids, and you're like, damn, the stakes are so high.
And even after that, and there's that big fight scene in, like, the abandoned hospital.
Yeah.
And like, Spider-Man's fucked in that scene.
Yeah, which, for me, that's my favorite one of my favorite Spider-Man moments, but definitely my favorite fight scene out of the Spider-Man movie.
There was no moment like that where, or nothing.
So at the end of the day, guys, Spider-Man Homecoming is a very soulless, unsatisfying experience.
Very disappointing.
And easily the worst entry so far in the Spider-Man franchise. Justin, let's put some final scores on this bad boy. What you got for me?
3 out of 10.
I'd go 4. 4 out of 10.
You go
Connor?
4? I'd probably go with the 3.
Steven?
4 is fine.
Yeah.
Let's go with a quick rank. Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, Amazing Spider-Man 1, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man Homecoming. It's all in order.
Well, I can do mine really quick. 1 through 3 are actually in order. Sam Raimi trilogy 1, 2, and 3, and then Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then
That's exactly what Justin just said.
Yeah, what I was doing is that was my ranking.
Oh.
So we had the same ranking. Connor, what do you got?
Give me a second on this.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
I mean, I think 1 has to be. It would be like 1, 2, 1. Does that make sense?
Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, and then it'd be like 3, 2.
Homecoming.
Yeah. So let us know what you guys thought in the comments down below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? You probably liked it a lot. I think we're definitely going to get a lot of hate for this video. We're definitely in the minority.
He has a different opinion.
Yeah.
Dislike.
You know, we won't hate on you guys for thinking the movie's great. So
But if you like it, you're stupid.
well, you guys
Joking.
can hate on Steven
Joking.
personally.
I'm joking.
His Twitter
Sarcasm.
is in the bio.
Sarcasm.
Let's just give them like a couple years to catch up,
Yeah.
and then they'll overcompensate when the sequel comes out, Avengers: Age of Ultron style,
Mm-hmm.
and then everyone will shit
What's
all over
the
it.
sequel going to be called?
Homecoming 2.
Spider-Man Prom.
Don't tempt them.
Graduation. It's
Don't
gonna be like
tempt
Kanye West.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Turnabout. No.
Winter Formal.
Winter form.
Winter formal. Halloween dance. But yeah, let us know what
It's
you
about to
guys
get real
thought
spooky.
in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that thumbs up video. If you enjoyed this review, hit that subscribe button if you're new.
Dude, hit that like for Connor coming back.
Connor's back.
He's been in the crawl space.
We've had him chained up in the basement this whole time, but now we finally let him out. He's
Dusted him off.
He learned
He's
his
good as
lesson, so he's back with us for now until,
And he's never leaving again.
until I have to bury him in the
Ever.
crawl space again. But
I'm Rick.
until next time, guys, I'm Nate, and I've been joined with Justin,
Web slinging. Web shooter.
Connor,
Hey.
and Steven.
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you later.
Ow!
Yeah, how much I've sacrificed!